Now on CoastTV News.
Still cleaning up 1 week later, and storm damage is still a sight to see in Rehoboth. How much longer until it's all cleared? And new tonight in the massive cat rescue case, more than 100 cats pulled from Wicomico County. Now criminal charges could be coming.
Had some snow tonight, but guess what's on the way? Spring-like weather.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
The conflict spiraling across the Middle East appears set to escalate tonight as the U.S. is urging Americans to leave the region immediately. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. That's our top story. The Saudi Defense Ministry has confirmed that the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia was hit by 2 suspected Iranian drones. U.S. Central Command said an attack on U.S. troops in Kuwait on Sunday has now claimed the lives of at least 6 service members. Sherelle Hubbard has the latest on the deepening conflict and how Americans are responding.
Expect a major uptick in the next 24 hours in Operation Epic Fury, the massive coordinated air and missile attack in Iran. The U.S. Secretary of State telling reporters Monday the hardest hits are yet to come.
This operation needed to happen.
3 U.S. fighter jets were shot down over Kuwait in an apparent friendly fire incident. The pilots all ejected safely, according to U.S. officials. The conflict has claimed the lives of several hundred people in Iran, according to the Red Crescent Society.
We are aware of the reports from Iran about the death of possibly dozens of children, allegedly as the result of a strike.
At a United Nations meeting on children and education, led by First Lady Melania Trump, she did not explicitly mention strikes on Iran, but offered condolences.
I hope soon peace will be yours.
Secretary Rubio saying the U.S. would never deliberately target a school. According to a new CNN poll, nearly 6 in 10 Americans disapprove of the U.S. decision to take military action in Iran, as most say a long-term military conflict between the two nations is likely. Democratic leaders are seeking to limit the president's war powers.
We're going to force this vote on a war powers resolution and make sure that we do everything we can to constrain him.
President Donald Trump predicts the war will last 4 to 5 weeks, but Iran's national security chief posting on X, quote, Iran, unlike the United States, has prepared itself for a long war. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Now back here at home, crews in Rehoboth Beach have been cleaning up non-stop since last weekend's blizzard, with massive trees still in the street, still in people's yards. The city of Rehoboth Beach says a tree that's really big actually needs to be cut into pieces so that it can be removed from the public sidewalk or the road. But many yards still look like this one here. They're left unrecognizable. The city said in a post today, cleanup could take several weeks.
Will recover from this situation. For some, it has been really bad. The various people who take care of cleaning up the trees are doing a pretty good job of it.
And it is important to note that in Rehoboth, if a tree was on your private property and not near the city street at all, you do have to take care of that yourself. But if you move any tree limbs to the road, the city will pick it up. This does bring us to our CoastTV poll. We're asking you what lingering impacts from the blizzard concern you. Looking at the results now, 68% say those falling limbs, 29% say trees still down, and 3% worried about melting snow causing flooding. You can still vote. Go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. Let us know what concerns you. Now we're looking live into Ocean City. A look on the boardwalk there. Our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now with a check on the forecast. Paul, it was snowing, but now you say it's going to get warm.
And you know what? We had to look high and low to try to find some snow accumulations throughout the night. Most of the snow we picked up on our radar didn't actually even hit the ground. I'll show you that in a moment. First of all, we do have some lingering sprinkles, what I would call them right now, with temperatures staying above freezing. Now, here's where we are right now. We're looking totally clear at this point, and we're going to stay that way. But here's the last remnants of the snow as it began to pull across. Now we see the green, which was representing the rain. Well, now that's moving out of the way. We're clearing out pretty nicely, but we're going to have intermittent off and on again showers for the next few days in a row, to be quite honest. Now, here's a look at the snowfall that total we were to get. We had just over a half an inch that fell in Bridgeville, but just a trace in Ellendale and Seaford, and a half an inch. Now, notice we're going almost out of our viewing area now. For Woodside, Dover, and West Dover, about a half inch to a little bit over a half inch there. And then in Dagsboro and in Bethany Beach, we only had 1/100th of rain, not even snow. Now, what we will have a whole lot of is a lot of spring-like temperatures over the next few days, especially going to the weekend. We'll talk about that in detail coming up in a moment. Till then, back to you, Christina.
Love to hear it. Thanks, Paul. Ocean City Police want to change current regulations for taxi drivers in Ocean City. Things like medical fitness standards, proof of legal authorization to work in the U.S., and more specific guidelines regarding drug testing policies. The town wants to clarify rules regarding medical marijuana specifically. And as Kevin Zappé reports, it's because some applicants started to appeal their drug test results, arguing that their marijuana was prescribed by their doctors.
Waving down a taxi, that's one way people get home in Ocean City after a big event. And John Tracy is no different.
I take taxi, Uber, Lyft, all of those.
But this summer, the Ocean City Police Department plans to clarify regulations for taxi drivers applying or renewing their licenses.
We want to make sure that we are providing our residents and visitors with a safe mode of transportation here in town.
The proposed changes include clearer medical fitness standards, a requirement to show proof of legal authorization to work in the U.S., and more specific guidelines for drug testing. We spoke with one local taxi driver in Ocean City who told CoastTV that obtaining the license is already strict enough, saying they have to renew their license every year as well as undergoing a drug test. But drug testing has become a point of concern.
We were starting to see some issues with our taxi drivers when it came to drug testing results and things like that.
Some applicants have appealed positive results, arguing their medical marijuana is doctor prescribed and legal in Maryland. That led to a new proposed language in the rulebook, stating that even if marijuana is prescribed, a positive test could still result in a license denial, something Ken Walters agrees with.
You don't know if they're going to be using it while they're driving. Even though they have a permit, they might think, well, I got a permit, I can use this or do this anytime I want. And I think it's putting innocent people, in danger.
These Ocean City regulations only applies to local taxis, not Uber or Lyft.
That was our Kevin Zappé reporting. Now, if these rules are approved, they would take effect immediately. Well, if you love hunting and want to help protect the tradition for the next generation, here's your chance. The Delaware Hunter Education Program is looking for volunteer hunter and trapper education instructors. The state will provide all course materials and training. Volunteers must have hunting experience. Also, they must pass a background check and be committed to conservation. We're continuing coverage tonight of a rescue mission that pulled more than 100 cats from a sanctuary in Wicomico County. Today, Wicomico Sheriff Mike Lewis confirmed that criminal charges are likely. He says because that hasn't happened yet, he doesn't want to identify the suspect at this point, but he did explain why it took a few months for his office and several other agencies to finally converge on a property that they had been investigating since November.
You knew we were going to have the resources to care for those cats. You don't want to take them out of one harmful situation and put them in another without the proper resources. And we knew that we didn't have them locally. We knew our local Humane Society didn't have them. And we had to rely heavily on the experts from the humane world of animals and the veterinarians and those clinicians who would be here to assist us in carrying out this effort.
Lewis also says his office and other agencies are still gathering evidence. He says those findings will be handed over to Wicomico County State's Attorney Jamie Dykes. Pocomoke River State Park is still closed after blizzard damage. Park staff say when they returned there, some roads were completely blocked by trees. They had to cut their way back in. They also found the storm had taken out the park's entire power grid.
Main reasons is just public safety at this point. We want to keep everyone coming into the park safe as well as people working within the park safe.
Yep, and officials are saying the outages there are making recovery even tougher with no on-site fuel, no phones, no internet. They say crews are still dealing with hanging limbs, damaged lines, and other safety concerns. But for now, the park is expected to stay closed for about a month as cleanup continues. Now to Cambridge, where there are questions surrounding the future of the Rescue Fire Company's train garden. City leaders say renovations are needed at the old firehouse where that display is located. Those improvements could include work to address conditions inside the building. Fire company leaders say they want to make sure the train garden can continue operating without being forced out, and both sides say they are working to find a solution.
Ultimately, we need to get in there and renovate the building. And how are we going to do that? Is it going to be working around an existing train garden in there? But the building needs to be renovated.
There's been further discussion and with the President's office, and looking forward to having an agreement that we can reach at some point soon.
And we are just getting started tonight. More news coming up ahead, like Georgetown holding another supportive housing committee meeting tonight. The focus on people who recently got out of prison. And coming up, Paul Williams with a look at your full forecast. He's tracking it all in the Coast TV First Alert Weather Center right now. But first, Milton Town Council talking about food trucks and parking, what the Milton Theater is requesting for the summertime.
So we had maybe a half an inch of snow that popped up in Bridgeville and then going up towards the Dover area. Other than that, we're pretty much getting ready for a wonderful spring-like pattern and a little sprinkly here and there. We'll talk about the timing of that rain in just mere moments. Ocean View, we're at 35 degrees. Dew point temperature, 32. Winds active, but not vibrant or blustery. And we are still expecting a few lingering sprinkles, is what I'll call them, for the early morning hours. Here's a look at live radar, the last remnants of the rain, because it changed over from snow to rain pretty quickly, right around 8 o'clock, to be quite honest. And then everything is kind of sashaying its way right off the coast. Here's a wider view of what's happening. Now, we have more in the way of widely scattered sprinkles. I can't really call them showers. Sprinkles, actually, down towards Chincoteague, Eddicock, and the Crisfield area, and staying there. Now, as far as our expectations for the overnight, our nowcast, or our short-term model, rapid refresh model, showing that we'll see scattered showers popping through by 7:30 in the morning. I mean, if you get a couple of sprinkles on your windshield tomorrow morning on your way to work and to school or whatever it is you do in the morning time, yeah, that's pretty much all we're looking for. Even by 1 o'clock, we're looking for maybe a blip of scattered shower activity towards Seaford and then around the Milton area, and then it dissipates pretty quickly. A little heavier dots expected by 3:30 near Dover. Overnight lows, 38, 37 degrees. Temperature-wise, we've pretty much evened out. We're about just 1 degree difference up, higher or lower in some few days. Now, speaking of temperatures, let me show you the trend that's happening. 51 is the normal high. Look at where we're going to be trending for the next few days. And then we're just going to go hog wild by the time we get to Sunday or Monday, because our low is going to be where the high. It's been that kind of a crazy winter, to be quite honest, anyway. So why not? Why not go ahead and enjoy it that way? So when you take a look at Tuesday morning, we end up with sprinkles. We have that onshore flow that's going to stay pretty steady, bringing in additional moisture, giving us a low-level amount of moisture that's going to keep the cloud cover thick. So temperatures will be in the 50s despite the lack of access to sunshine. We'll see scattered showers kind of dancing around throughout the evening time. Wednesday afternoon, we stay cloudy, but still warm and almost muggy if it was just warm enough to be that. But by Thursday early in the morning, we'll have temperatures in the 40s and we'll see widespread scattered showers. Our chances of rain will escalate for Tuesday a little bit, Wednesday for sure, and then we'll kind of hover between widely scattered for the next few days in a row. You see, we're looking for dense fog and acidic on Wednesday, okay? And then we're looking for scattered showers for Thursday for Ocean City. And then we anticipate some rain for Tuesday and Wednesday in Lewis, and all 3 days for us in Rehoboth Beach. Then by the time we go to Wednesday going into Thursday, we'll see, once again, wave upon wave of scattered showers that push through. We don't even see any yellows there, but a taste of spring will kick in, because Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, temperatures between 15 to 25 degrees warmer than where they should be. And you know what? I'm not going to argue with Mother Nature on that one. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Be sure you spring forward Saturday going into Sunday.
Okay, thanks for that reminder, Paul. Food trucks and parking. Milton considering a permit that would reopen a few spots for food trucks during the summer concert series. The Milton Theater submitted this application. They're looking to use spaces on Union Street for food trucks. That would be every Thursday from May 21st until September 17th. And this was approved earlier this evening. Coast TV reporter Ana Sofia Roman shows us what the theater and community are saying about it.
Milton Theater's Quayside Outdoor Summer Concert Series takes place in this lot off Union Street. Once again, the theater wants to put food trucks in 2 of these spaces on Thursday evenings. Bella Myers with the Milton Theater says it's important to them to foster a community atmosphere.
They're local food trucks that send us applications to set out here. It's so that the patrons of the theater and for the town can enjoy the concert as well as some food from our local food trucks.
Some people we spoke with off camera told us they are already concerned because of the limited parking spaces around town.
But for others like Heather Dislensky, it's a terrific idea.
I don't have a problem with it because I go to Quayside all the time. I mean, it's one of our favorite things to do over the summer, and grabbing a bite and having an extra place to do it is not bad.
In Milton, Ana Sofia Roman, Coast TV News.
The Way Home and the Everlasting Hope Ministry presenting recommendations to Georgetown's Supportive Housing Committee this evening. Those are 2 community providers that specialize in post-incarcerated individuals' return to society. Coast TV photojournalist Matt Hipsman was at that meeting.
I'm a firm believer if you don't take care of that drug addiction or that recovery addiction, you can't live right.
I am happy to know that they've been interviewing other providers, what we call community partners, in Sussex County, and that some of what I've expressed has also been expressed prior to me. I'm happy to hear that there's a need, and they feel there's a need for a consortium of sorts.
Resources are so scarce, so you want to be able to maximize the money and the impact. If you don't want what the left hand is doing, unfortunately, these kinds of gaps allow people to go from place to place in kind of shock. Resources are very scarce, so coordination is really important.
We do duplicate some efforts, and I think some services fall through the cracks. So if we all had an understanding of what each of us did and what our priorities were or what our niche was, then we could possibly make the system much more beneficial to the population that we service.
I think we come together and work as a team, I think it'll make things a whole lot better.
This is all about public education. It's nothing else.
Coming up ahead, pain at the pump, how the conflict in Iran could impact gas prices here at home. But first, 2 major streaming services are going to become one. How long until HBO Max and Paramount Plus are expected to merge?
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Looks like Paramount Plus and HBO Max will form a single streaming platform after Paramount's merger with Warner Brothers. Paramount CEO David Ellison announced the plan during an investor call today. Ellison did not reveal a name or pricing for the streamer, saying the combination would take place over the coming years. The merger must still be approved by regulators, which will take at least several months. Also, a major legal case in the music industry began Monday in New York. The Justice Department is suing Live Nation, claiming it's a monopoly that uses its dominance to hurt competition and increase ticket prices. Live Nation, which merged with Ticketmaster back in 2010, denies these claims. If the Justice Department wins its case, it could ask a judge to split up Live Nation and Ticketmaster. The trial is expected to last at least a month. Oil prices surging today as tensions in the Middle East escalate. About 20% of the world's oil supply travels through a passage known as the Strait of Hormuz, connecting the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman. The escalating violence is impacting this key shipping route. And tonight, Jen Sullivan explains why conflict in the Middle East is making gas prices back here in the U.S. spike.
As markets opened Monday, stocks plummeted. Oil prices surged more than 6%. These numbers giving the first glimpse of how escalating tensions in the Middle East could impact the U.S. economy.
That geopolitical price premium can go up or down based on what's happening in the rest of the world.
Mason Hamilton with the American Petroleum Institute says gas prices are already up. For the first time this year, the national average for a gallon of regular gasoline is at $3, according to AAA. Saturday, the U.S. and Israel launched a massive and coordinated attack on Iran.
An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat.
In response, Iran has launched a wave of retaliatory strikes on U.S. military bases, targets in Israel, and across the Middle East. The violence is disrupting oil shipments. This tanker struck in the Strait of Hormuz by a U.S. missile, according to Iranian state media.
The oil tankers are not going through it as missiles are flying, and in fact, we've got reports of at least 4 tankers that have diverted away or are dropping anchor.
The Strait of Hormuz is a major shipping route. Roughly 20 million barrels of oil pass through there a day. That's about 20% of the world's oil consumption.
Some crude oil can leave this region via pipeline, but it's the equivalent of trying to push a watermelon through a golf hose. It's not enough, and there's too much trying to go through too little of a route.
Hamilton says as long as this violence continues, gas prices will remain high. But it's too early to predict just how much more consumers will be paying for gas. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Coming up in sports tonight, the Phillies starting to see return on investment for one of their best young prospects. The Delmarva Sports Network has the details on an up-and-coming pitcher. And coming up, Bay Health expanding services, how the move could help more people stay on top of their health.
And as we take a look at our Bay forecast, we're looking for scattered showers on Tuesday and Thursday in Cambridge, and a bit of thick fog in Crisfield on Thursday.
Well, in Milford, it looks like Bay Health has plans to expand, saying it is expanding access to preventative care. They're offering weekend colonoscopy screenings in April. That's on Saturday, April 18th and Sunday, April 19th. The hospital's Sussex campus in Milford is where that's happening. And appointments are open to people 45 years and older who are due for a routine screening colonoscopy. The U.S. has now surpassed 1,000 measles cases in the first 2 months of 2026. According to the CDC, the U.S. has officially reported 1,136 cases as of February 26th. Among those, 1,130 cases were reported by 28 jurisdictions. That's including South Carolina, Utah, and Florida, which have the highest number of cases at this point. A total of 6 measles cases were reported among international visitors to the U.S. The CDC says there have been 10 new outbreaks in 2026. Well, March is Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. MS, it's a chronic, often disabling autoimmune disease that impacts the central nervous system. And a majority of Americans with the disorder are women. Tonight, Mandy Gaither explains how menopause can mimic MS and why doctors say knowing which is to blame for a certain symptom can help bring relief to women who have both.
It's a natural process that just about every woman will go through. Menopause can lead to hot flashes, night sweats, loss of bladder control, fatigue, sleep disruptions, mood changes, and memory problems. And for a woman who also has multiple sclerosis, these symptoms can overlap.
It's really difficult for many patients and providers to parse out which symptoms are due to which process.
Dr. Elise Carlson, a neurologist with Cleveland Clinic, says lower estrogen at menopause may contribute to the wearing down of the nervous system and changes in immune responses. So for MS patients going through menopause, it can be a double whammy.
And these symptoms can kind of feed off of each other, right? So if we're not addressing these things from one end or the other, they can make the symptoms worse.
That's why Carlson says it's important to talk to a doctor about those symptoms, because if the ones associated with menopause aren't treated, it can worsen already existing MS symptoms.
If these things aren't addressed, it can cause a lot of problems for many women and be very disruptive to their daily function and quality of life.
Carlson says doctors can help figure out if it's menopause or MS to blame and discuss what treatments can help bring some relief. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
On the diamond, the Phillies rotation has questions, most of which revolve around usual ace Zach Wheeler working his way back from injury. Fortunately for the Fightins, help is on the way in the form of a top prospect and you probably know him if you're a diehard Phillies fan, Andrew Painter. It's been a couple of years since he made his debut at just 19 years old in the Grapefruit League, and Tommy John surgery has kind of derailed his development a little bit, but he looked great in spring training over the weekend against the New York Yankees. Now 22 years old, so he's been in the system for 3 years. He tossed 2 perfect innings against the Yanks, albeit the Phils did lose by 2, but it wasn't because of Painter, who is still a top 30 prospect in all of baseball, according to MLB Pipeline. He feels like a new man headed into 2026.
I say this just this offseason as a whole. The bullpens, even just going back to early January, there's been a little more attention to detail throughout the catch play, and a little bit more intentionality with target, whether it's catch play, bullpen, fly ground, whatever it was. I felt pretty comfortable out there. Right when I towed the rubber, I felt like I was in control of the game. Didn't speed up on me, and then that's a big thing. Just taking deep breaths and not allowing the game to speed up on you.
Well, I can tell you, batters need to adjust for the velocity that Painter throws with. When he threw that fastball in the win, for him personally, not in the win against the Yankees, but in those 2 perfect innings, 97-mile-an-hour heater out of the hands of Painter, who's trying to get back on track. That'll do it for sports. Have a great night, Delmarva.
Here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. And we're looking for some scattered showers on Tuesday and Thursday. And don't forget, you spring forward over the weekend.
Thank you again, Paul, and thank you so much for joining us for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. You can always find more news and weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is up next, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.